Hi, how's everyone? Thanks for coming back. Hello and welcome if you are new. I'm glad you found me. Virgo, hey Virgo, hey girl. We're doing a refresher for Virgo today because in tropical astrology we have gone into Libra season, but in sidereal, in the true sky, the sun is only about 6 degrees into Virgo. So we're still in sidereal astrology in Virgo season. Now, for me, when I interpret tropical versus sidereal, tropical is like the outer environment, things that we observe, things that we're involved in, but things that we can't actually like control. It's like grander scheme kind of energy. And sidereal energy is how we process that personally, like our inner world, the inner environment. So we're going to do sidereal Virgo, and I've done a little bit something a little bit special. I wanted to do a little bit more of the mythology behind your sign, and then we'll get to the reading. I promise it won't be too long and it won't be too painful. But I just really wanted to do something special for you, Virgo, for your refresher reading. So let's get to the sidereal placements today. Now, the sun is 6 degrees in Virgo, but it's in an opposition with Neptune at 6 degrees and Saturn at 4 degrees in Pisces. So Virgo and Pisces are those glaring opposites, but they're opposites in the way that they're mirror opposites, okay? Virgo is all logic and duty, and Pisces is more free swimming and spiritual without the dogma. Whereas Virgo can be a little bit dogmatic and stoic, Pisces is a little bit more free. So those two energies, they even though they have planets in opposition, Virgo and Pisces actually blend super well together. And we will see a little reason of for that in the mythology when we look into it. So now we also have a crossbow pattern and a heart. A crossbow is when we have a grand trine and then an opposition through the middle. So we have a grand trine in um, earth signs right now. So we have the sun at 6 degrees Virgo, trine Pluto 7 degrees retrograde in Capricorn. That's your other earth sign. And that's trine with Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And there's some contention here in the earth energies. This is work and career and money and management and time, you know, things like that, things that we're on a deadline, things where we um, want to upgrade the comforts of our home, things like that. Okay. Um, a grand trine usually is really open and easy energy, but the planets that are involved are kind of at a standstill right now, or pulling backwards. Like we've got the sun, which is wonderful, 6 degrees Virgo, but it's trying to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, and Pluto is the transformer. He rules a Scorpio, and he is an aspect of death. So he's pulling backwards in our sign of Capricorn right now, which is legacy and career and karma. Okay, then we have Uranus, the upheaver, the rebel, and the revolutionary. He is a retrograde in Taurus right now. And that is an energy of pulling back on innovations that we had made in our Taurus area of life, which was working from the home sphere. And those innovations are kind of being pulled apart right now, how we make money and how it pertains to our aesthetic, our surroundings, our environment, and our home. That's Taurus energy. Taurus also rules with the Hierophant dogma and tradition, and Uranus being the revolutionary, but right now his energy is being pulled backwards. So there is a retro, a reversal of revolutionary energy in this house of Taurus, which is tradition and dogma. So yeah, that makes a crossbow with the sun, pulling in the opposition and shooting directly at Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Okay, Neptune in Pisces is at home in his ruling sign, but he is the ruler of the deep subconscious. And right now, with Neptune retrograde in Pisces, that deep spiritual inner work is kind of difficult right now for the earth signs because there are other concerns that are more important on the surface, okay? So, the mythology that I wanted to get into, the special part for you, is we're going to look at the asteroids and the asteroid belt for Virgo. The reason, um, the asteroids can be plotted in anybody's chart, but I definitely um, give them over more towards Virgo. I'm going to tell you why. Um, Virgo has to share Mercury with Gemini at the moment because there aren't enough planets in the solar system for all 12 of the signs. Right now, there's only 10 planets. And I am including Pluto. I will fight on this hill. Pluto is a planet. But Virgo has to share Gemini the intellect and communication and wit planet with Gemini because Virgo doesn't have a ruling planet. Mercury is definitely at home with Gemini in the intellect and quick thinking. And it definitely lends great deep thinking to Virgo. But Virgo being the earth sign kind of can bog that air energy down and become neurotic. Dwelling in the thoughts, walking around in the rut, things like that. Um, there is a theory in astrology that Virgo's true ruling planet hasn't quote unquote been discovered yet. It's a planet called Vulcan, and yes, it is a planet ruled with logic, just like in Star Trek. They got that from the mythology of Vulcan. So, in Greek mythology, he is Hephaestus, the smith god. Very good energy for an earth sign. He works deep within the earth. You think the dwarf lords from Lord of the Rings, where they mine and they smith and they just make these incredibly sophisticated things and they're imbued with magic. That was Hephaestus, but he was the god of the smiths, and he worked for the gods of Olympus and made them their helmets and, Zeus's thunderbolts and things like that. He is ruled by hard work and logic, and that is supposedly the planet that is supposed to rule Virgo. Now, my theory is that that planet Vulcan was supposed to take form in between Mars and Jupiter, but because of Jupiter's gravity, of course, Zeus, the king of the gods, he's got to draw everything towards him. It broke apart before it could congeal into a planet. So the asteroid belt is actually the remnants of the planet Vulcan, which was supposed to be Virgo's true ruler. So now within the asteroid belt there are four biggies, okay? There are four big girls, and they are Ceres, Juno, Vesta, and Pallas, and they're the four biggest asteroids in the asteroid belt. So that's why I give over the four asteroids mostly to Virgo, because I feel like their energy is the broken up pieces of Virgo's true ruler, Vulcan. Okay, so I plotted where all the asteroids are right now, and we're gonna go ahead and go through where they're placed and a little bit of their mythology. Okay. So Ceres is the largest of the planets, of the asteroids. I'm sorry. Ceres is the largest of the asteroids in the asteroid belt. She is the Roman goddess of agriculture, crops, health, growing, and fertility, okay? In Greek mythology, she was Demeter, the goddess of harvest and growing things, okay? She was the goddess of the fertile earth from spring to fall. She managed the growth and abundance of the planet, okay? She is one of the many earth goddesses that the constellation Virgo represents. Her daughter Persephone got caught up in an arrangement with Hades to be his wife and queen of the dead for half of the year. In the fall, when the earth begins to die, Persephone is returning to her husband to spend half the year in the realm of death. So Demeter, in her grief, puts the world to sleep until she returns. Ceres reminds you, Virgo, that it is equally important for you to eat what grows from the earth as not just from what walks upon it. Okay? Um so right now Ceres shows, so this is our health and fertility. This is um our self-maintenance, I heard, where we are abundant for ourselves, okay? And right now, Ceres is in Aries. Love it. Aries is a fire sign, the first principle, the first spark of vitality. So, Ceres, the god of grain, from which we get the word cereal, um, she is reminding you to make sure you feed yourself, okay? Feed yourself, not just in mind and spirit, but in body too. And I'm okay. I keep hearing spicy, spicy, spicy. Tell them spicy, spicy. They're telling me to add more like spicy foods to your diet because it's good for your sweat and your blood and your heart. Okay. I don't know why they wanted me to say that to somebody. So Ceres and Aries, I like that. It's bringing back a little bit of fire and vitality to our health. Okay. Next we have Juno. She is retrograde in Scorpio, and she's gonna actually go into Sagittarius in a week or so. I just caught it about October 1st. Juno is gonna enter Sagittarius. Right now she's in Scorpio. Juno was the protector and wise counsel goddess. Okay, she ruled duty and fealty and nobility and force of will. In Greek mythology, she is Hera, Zeus's wife and queen of the gods, mother of Ares, Mars, the god of war, mother of Hephaestus, Vulcan, your true ruler, mother of Bellona, who also is Inya, Bellona, Bellona, Bellona. I'm just going to say Bellona. She was a goddess of war. So here, we have this energy of this very powerful feminine who was the goddess of righteous war. Okay. And all her children are very vital, very, very. We've got Hephaestus here, which is the god of like volcanoes, because of his name Vulcan. He's the god of volcanoes, which is that deep earth heat. Okay, the war, and also she was the mother of a god named Juventus or Juventus, and he was the god of healthful youth and rejuvenation. So he was like always young and hot. And that came from that inner fire of righteousness, of um good blood running through your veins, okay? Um, Juno's placement is where we find our sacred duty. Okay, this what we will fight for, be loyal to, and invest righteous protection and counsel. Now, there is when Roman and Greek merged, some of the gods and goddesses took on other aspects from the other culture. So in this case, Juno actually began as a war goddess. But when it married into the Greek when the Roman married into the Greek, she became the mate of their head god Zeus. So it was like kind of like a marriage of the two religions, the two mythologies. And the war goddess became a wife. Okay. So then she started to represent that loyalty of marriage, right? Fealty, um, what's it called? Being true to your vows, even though he was an asshole. He was a philanderer. He fucked anything that moved. Okay, he's Jupiter, the god of, he rules. What does Jupiter rule? Sagittarius, the man whore. So he was gallivanting whenever he could, and he was getting out of her sight all the fucking time. But Hera, only took revenge on the poor women and she never held her husband accountable. So to me, that's like a fall from her original nobility as a war goddess and righteous war, right? Um, Force of will. And then when the two merged, the more patriarchal of the religion gave her a very humbled position. It's almost like it knocked her down a peg, right? I didn't like that. Next, we have the asteroid Vesta, okay? And Vesta was the goddess of hearth and home and familial duty. Her duty. Her priestesses were called the Vestal Virgins. This is where Virgo gets their kind of shy, prudish, a little bit modest kind of behavior, okay? A very earth mothery kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Um, the Vestal Virgins renounced earthly pursuits to tend the fires of the temple in eternal service to keep it literally keeping the home fires burning. So in Greek, she was Hestia, and she was sister to Juno and Ceres. And even though Vesta was involved in family management, fertility, home, childbirth, and harmony, she and her priestesses were chaste, except for maybe a few mishaps. But they renounced their chance to have the very thing that they protected and ruled for others. Vesta's position shows where we are honor bound in service and where we give of ourselves generously, freely, and dutifully. It also reflects how we function in our home, our family, and sometimes where we fall to self denial for some greater good that may only matter to ourselves. Okay? So Vesta is right now in Capricorn, a very dutiful sign. Again, that earth energy. There is a real um pull right now for people to, I heard, hunker down for some reason. But earth energy is definitely like making, I see people making like a den for hibernation, and I think that's like fear based a little bit, but it's also like preparing to go into the fall and winter season, preparing the home, okay? So next we have, well, let me think here. Vesta in Capricorn, that, yeah, our duty is to our work ethic, especially with Virgo. Yeah. And you're comfortable with that because you're a hard worker, but there's an underlying kind of feeling of you're nose to the grind more out of duty than desire, you know? And you're comfortable with that because you know it happens. You know, life brings those moments, those time frames where sometimes it's just nose to the grind just to get the work done. And you know that those times are going to come back around where it's going to bring good times with it, okay? Somebody needed to hear that. So the last one here, we've got Palace. That's the last of the large Asteroids. Now, she is often called Pallas Athena, but they are two separate goddesses. Now, right now, Pallas is in Aquarius, and we'll get to that. Pallas Athena, Pallas was a daughter of Triton, who was the like a son of Poseidon. So she was a water nymph, a sea nymph. And Athena, they began as separate goddesses. They were raised together, almost as sisters and best friends, and they trained in war and competition because that's what Athena ruled. Unfortunately, during one of their competitions, Zeus distracted Pallas, and Athena dealt a mortal blow to her friend accidentally. But after honoring her fallen comrade, Athena took her name as title and honored her for the rest of her life. So her position, Pallas Athena's position, reveals where we are strategic because she was the goddess of wisdom and competition and war. Um, Wisdom. She was Minerva in Greek, I believe, and she was also virginal, and she ruled wisdom, strategy, competition, things like that. So her position reveals where we are strategic and use wisdom and creative thinking, problem solving, and dedication. It can also hint at where we take up the fight for those who have fallen and where we feel our own loyalties lie. Okay, right now she's in Aquarius, and that's a really big energy for right now. With that grand trine in Earth affecting us, um, Pallas in Aquarius is still that lingering desire to look bigger, not size bigger, but our set our minds and our vision towards bigger things, especially where we fit in our community, in our society, and how we serve that as in the grander scale by how we balance serving it in the smaller scale, our friends, our family, our surroundings, our neighbors, our pets. Virgo definitely rules pets, and how we enjoy the things that we have worked to protect. Pallas here in Aquarius, where it's talking about taking up the fight for those who have fallen. Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian, and he is ruled by Uranus, the revolutionary. But right now, Uranus is stuck retrograde in Taurus. Okay, so we're more directing that energy towards our immediate environment. Okay, so that's the asteroids for you, Virgo. I'm glad we got that. Virgo is one of my favorite signs from mythology because of Vulcan, because of Hephaestus. Um, the story with Hephaestus is that the gods arranged a marriage between Hephaestus and Aphrodite, who is Venus, because she and Mars kept they couldn't keep their hands off each other, and when you mix love and war, you get chaos sometimes. So the gods were like, man, we gotta rein this bitch, and she is just, she's all over the place, love and passion and everything. So they arranged for Venus of Aphrodite to marry Hephaestus, Vulcan, the god of logic and the snake god. So you can imagine as Venus, the vain, shallow it girl, was married off to somebody who was not, by godly standards, very handsome. So she was like, ew, I'm gonna keep seeing my boyfriends. And Hephaestus was like, whatever. He was much more involved with his work. Now that's very Virgo energy. And he was not the party god, okay? Where Venus wanted to be wined and dined, he really just wanted to work on his chainmail, right? So the arranged marriage didn't do shit, and Venus continued to affair with Mars. But I like the idea that for the gods he was ugly. But it wasn't, it was like, this is how I imagine it. Imagine somebody just fit, right? Chiseled, chiseled and muscular and sweaty and creating these gorgeous things from the metal, and he's always around fire, and you get where I'm going with this, right? But Venus being the being look, I'm Libra, so I definitely feel this sometimes, and I'm secure. I can admit it. Um, Sometimes the sweaty dudes are kind of gross. Okay, ew. Take a shower, you stink. Like you know. So that's I think that's funny that they tried to marry him off, and then he was too manly for her. My goodness, but he was like that quiet, broody kind of grunty, hey husband, do you want some, blah blah blah, and he just goes, something like that. He's very grunty and just concentrating on his work, right? And she's like, okay, what a boring dude. So that's just, I'm just talking while I'm shuffling, so none of that has to do with anything. All right, so Virgo, let's get to this quick reading for Jewel. We're gonna do one card for current energies, three clarifiers, and an oracle message. So can we get, please, a current energies for sidereal Virgo, please, for this refresher. Oh, okay. Do we have any more coming out? Who dis? The Eight of Pentacles. There's that hard work. Yep, there's that work towards the future, working towards a legacy, working towards that Ten of Pentacles, where you actually have something to leave behind. But right now, you're just putting in the work. And this is for the future, because I know in a couple decks they have he's actually passing on, like he's got a companion there. It looks like a little kid. It could be his son or his little brother or something. Um something that represents the future, and he's passing on what he's doing, his gift and skill, to a new generation. So that's what we're doing right now, Virgo. You're definitely investing or looking into changing work, maybe. um what's the word? Securing a new position in maybe a job that you already have. Trying to be a mentor, trying to find a mentor, or just putting in a lot of effort, investing your energy into something for the future, plain and simple. Okay, and we got one more clarifier to come out. Oh, I said one. Which one wants to be the bottom? This one? Okay. We're going to do it that way. All right. Last card is the Eight of Wands. But it was in the reverse, so we're going to honor that. We're going to honor that. There's a lack of momentum here. Somebody's nostalgic for something. We've got the Six of Cups and we've got the Nine of Wands. That's setting clear boundaries. I like that. That's setting clear boundaries because you're exhausted by something. You've been depleted. I don't want to say you've been used, but I mean, your energy is kind of used up. And it's interesting that Eight of Wands that's over here. The Nine of Wands is the eight, which whatever this momentum was, you're using it now as a barrier. This is done. You're on the other side of it and you're taking a knee, right? You've got the Six of Cups here. This is nostalgia from the past. This is some kind of really sweet um loving relationship, something sweet from the past. And that Eight of Wands in the reverse, you feel stagnant. This is a waiting. Oh, okay. Waiting, agitated, and loss of momentum. But there's still the energy there. They're showing me like a cartoon of somebody shooting an arrow, but then the arrow is like stopped in the air, right? And it's there quivering. It's like shaking because it's trying so hard to press forward, but there's that barrier that's stopping it. In the energy is still there, the intention is still there, the direction is still there, but the momentum is paused at the moment. Okay. Now the three at the bottom that we have, bottoms of the decks are like maybe influences that we don't quite see yet. Okay. We've got the Three of Pentacles, that's recognition, the Magician, that's manifesting, and the Hermit in the reverse. Yay! Somebody's coming out of a dark time. That's great. Okay, this may have to do with love, even though there's more pentacles here than cups. But Virgo, it feels like you're really putting in some work here to free yourself up from something so that you can return back to this Six of Cups nostalgia of a sweeter time. Okay. Right now, we've got some hung up momentum with that Eight of Wands in the reverse. This could be communication not coming in. There's a delay. Mercury is not retrograde. So it's not the communication energy. I think this is just second guessing yourself, second guessing about something. But this you're working on your skills about something. That Three of Pentacles is not just recognition, but it's refining your skills. Got a lot of Pentacle energy. That's clearly you and Capricorn. Remember, we do have that grand trine in Earth, but we do have fire energy here also, which I really like. And even in the Magician card, the Magician has all four of the elements here, but front and center is the cup, which means that's that emotional intention. And he falls right here under the Six of Cups. Somebody's trying to manifest a return to something that was really sweet in the past. So this Nine of Wands with the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, this is like a pause in other work so that you can invest a little bit more in your skill. This may be picking up a class somewhere. This is we do have the Eight of Pentacles, which talks about mentorship. So you might be looking into some way, some kind of guidance, maybe some new learning, some updating of your knowledge, something like that. But this is definitely like you're putting up boundaries so that you can work on some kind of skill and your com- compet competentness, competence. Thank you. I know words. Yeah, Six of Cups nostalgia. This is a sweet, sweet love. I heard an Anita Baker song again, Sweet Love. I'm also hearing some Sade. I haven't heard Sade in forever. I haven't channeled Sade in a long time. Wow. Okay. Hang on. I'm trying to get the. I'll get that later. I can't get the melody because the Anita Baker song is too loud. So with the Six of Cups, remember, this is something sweet. Could be from childhood. Could be a relationship that was young in its formation. Not that you guys were young. You could have been young, but it could have been a young relationship. Something that was sweet. But the reason the Six of Cups is so nostalgic is that it's the promise that it could have been good. But it's a sweet young relationship that had not been tested by life yet. So when you think back on it, you think back on those sweet memories, but you don't know what it would have turned into had it become the Two of Cups to become the lovers, right? Right now, it's kind of a very sweet, innocent energy where there's mutual commitment, there's mutual acceptance, there's mutual joy in your um um company. Everything's beautiful. The all the cups are full of flowers, you know. It's a beautiful sunny day. Everything is good. But it's young. It's not tested by life yet. But you got the magician here. This is, I mean, look at the determination on his face to manifest this sweet, sweet Six of Cups. From both ends, I heard, and that's not naughty. It means from as above, so below. So, whereas you and your Virgo energy with that grand trine in Earth, putting your nose to the grind, trying to work to improve yourself, right? Because you want to manifest this sweet love. Then we have that Eight of Wands in the reverse, but there's a holdup in the energy, Hermit energy. That's you, Virgo, coming out of your shell slowly. Because the Hermit reverse is somebody coming out all ready and set to go after like a long hibernation or a long um um where you've just been reclusive a little bit, even if it's just socially, you know, or whatever. But the Hermit reverse is somebody coming down off of that mountain, you know, get a fresh coming down for a fresh haircut and you know, got your kicky boots on and you're ready to go have some fun. Um, but I also heard I also heard coming down from the Nine of Wands and the Three of Pentacles here. It's like re-emerging after you held up some energy with that Nine of Wands and the Eight of Wands reverse. There was a holdup of energy because you were working on yourself. And now with that Hermit reversed, you're ready to come out of it. It may still be a little bit slow because you got that momentum in the reverse, but I feel more like this is that's what the holdup was. That you held it up a little bit because you had some work to do on yourself. Yeah, because oh my goodness, you manifested something sweet. I like that. Okay, let's get an oracle message for you and then we'll wrap it up. So, yeah, I think that's what the summary of this whole reading has been, is that there was a holdup in sorry about the stuttering. There was a pause in momentum because you wanted to work on yourself. You wanted to manifest something about yourself, something in yourself, something for yourself, um, health, you know, health wise, mental health wise, nutrition wise, because like I was saying, we were talking about Ceres and Vesta and how Virgo is a very health centered sign, being agriculture. There was some kind of change there. It was really wonderful energy. And I feel right here, it's like in the middle of this coming down from the inner work, in the middle of it, you manifested a beautiful, sweet little relationship. So let's get, please, an oracle, angel or ancestor oracle card for sidereal Virgo, please. And thank you. One card for Virgo. I'll take that one. Okay. Well, we're going to do both. We got the moon also. I think she just wanted to make sure that you remember um your intuition. Okay? Mm-mm. Plus, we just came through an eclipse cycle, and now we are in new moon energy still. And I believe it is still in, I can't remember where the moon is right now. Let's do the high priest. This one doesn't come out very often. I like this. And it's kind of going along with exactly what we were talking about. The high priest, even though in the tarot that would be the Hierophant, the Pope. This is talking about intend, and create. Okay? I like the owl. That's a falcon. Okay. Intend and create. To many traditions, the high priest is the physical embodiment of the divine masculine. He acts as a bridge between worlds and is able not only to divine the future, but to help create it. He may be It says, recognize that you have the power to change your life, face your fears, and align with the light. He may be a leader in his spiritual tradition, or in pagan traditions, he'd be second to the high priestess. That's Pisces energy. High priestess, that's your exact opposite. So again, it's still reminding you that part of the balance to this is to remember your spirituality too. Okay? You're you are a bridge between heaven and earth, and it's important for you to know that you are more powerful and connected than you may think. Everything you're giving attention and energy to at this time is creating your way forward. There have been some setbacks. That's that Eight of Wands in the reverse. But accept these as experiences that have led you to a degree, a deeper understanding of yourself and your spirit. Know that you are being guided by the ancestors to direct your thoughts and energies inward, or I'm sorry, towards what you want to grow, heal, and expand, and then watch it happen right before your eyes. Okay, so this is saying, remember to honor what's sacred and noble within yourself. Remember, we were talking about the nobility of Juno in your chart, and the sacred service of the vestal of Vesta, right? So it said to be true to yourself and watch your manifestations come. Then we have the moon. And we're just going to refresh on that. Come on. There we go. Okay, now the moon does talk about cycles and intuition. Okay, things that come back around. It says, use your intuition, practice discernment, and see through illusion and blockages. They're saying, even if that means your own. Okay? See through those illusions and blockages, even if it means your own. Okay, so there could be limiting beliefs here that you need to work through. It says lunar energies are surrounding your life, allowing you to understand what is standing in your way. Not everything is as it seems, and you're being guided to use discernment. When the moon appears, intuitive or psychic urges are increased. So, take note of any feelings rising at this time. They are messages from your soul and angels. The moon shines her light on all that is being kept in the dark. So ask yourself if you're avoiding anything or refusing to deal with something of importance. If so, it could be holding you in the shadows when your destiny is to be in the light. If this card appears when you feel someone isn't being completely real with you, know that their intentions will be revealed to you. The moon has no secrets. She reveals everything. So that's what I've got for that. Oh, what are we in time? Ooh, getting pretty. Okay. So we'll do a couple of the insight cards. Just a couple, because we're already at 45 minutes. I've rambled on long enough. But I wanted to do something special for you, Virgo. I like doing the hidden mythology behind things, and I don't often get to do that, so I figure let's use your refresher to explore that a little bit. Plus, you do have the asteroids, and I don't usually give the asteroids to other signs, so it was a little bit longer because we did do the asteroids. Because like I said, the remnants of your planet. Uh-oh. Storm warning. Okay, we've got tower energy, but it's small tower energy. Okay, storm warning means like a quick shakeup or an upheaval, but it's like, storms don't last. This isn't a week-long volcano. This is just a thunderstorm that comes through and we've got upheaval, restructuring, and cleansing away the old, okay? It says, not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to just clear your path. Think of the storms that come through just to clean out the gutters, right? Just to clean out the crap in the street. Just to wash away stuff on the sidewalk. Things like that. Fruition. That's Seven of Pentacles energy. That which you planted and tended to is ready to harvest or close to it. And I feel like that's you. That's your energy. Because you've got that Hermit in reverse coming out of the shit. Oh, we got the Raven. Hey, watch signs. Oh my goodness. See? There's that soulmate energy again. Oh my goodness. That's that Six of Cups that wants to be manifested. I love it. I love it. I love it. We'll get to that in a second. The red sun. Okay, wake up to your spiritual path. There's intense emotion here and passion, deep understanding, a spiritual awakening, and divine communication. We've got the key. Once closed doors may now be open. You have the answers. That was the here for under the moon. That means with this with the eclipse that just went by, the solar eclipse that ends the eclipse cycle for the year, and it ends with a wonderful solar reawakening. Okay, so now the doors that were once closed are now open and you have the answers. We also have bamboo here. This came out yesterday with the other soulmate cards. Yeah, something is growing, something is has the chance for longevity here and prosperity. I love this. We also have the Raven. Watch the signs and synchronicities. And right after that, the Raven, in this card is holding a little trinket that's a watch, and the watch says 1111. It says watch the signs and synchronicities. Okay, and right after that it fell out the 1111 card, the soulmate energy. It's an energy gateway. We just passed through the gateway for that eclipse portal. You are connected. There's a chance will be presented to change. There's a soul connection here, twin flame or soul mate. We've got two 1111s. And then the red sun talking about spiritual awakening and divine communication. I want a couple more for that because it feels like, that Pisces energy, but it feels like opposing energies here. I think for some in the collective, when this soulmate energy is comes forward, Venus, that's gonna spark a spiritual, connection with that other person. Yeah. Oh, look at that. What came up together but Mars and Venus? Love and war. Aries and Aphrodite, right? Beauty, harmony, balance, aesthetic. Now, Venus also rules Taurus. So when she's in Taurus, she's the beauty and comfort and lush surroundings and, you know, lattes and things like, comfort. But she also brings balance to the hard work that Taurus puts into their day-to-day routine. Mars is action and power and competition and passion. So love and war here coming together. I love that. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope you liked this refresher reading. My information is in the description. I'm available for personal readings and birth chart inquiries. We're going to have I'm going to move the Hidden Truth reading to tomorrow. So we're going to have Hidden Truth on Wednesday. My details are in the description. Email, Venmo, and Cash App in case you want to schedule a personal reading. And until I see you again in the next reading, thanks for sticking with me. Okay, thanks. Bye.